Happy summerween! Happy summerween, my friends. Hi, how are we doing? It's officially summerween. Kickoff today, July 15th. I'm so excited. I have already read my first book. It's a bit of a stretch, you know? It's a little bit of a stretch. I read A Ghost's Guide to Haunting Humans by Serena Dory. This is described as a flash fiction story because it's like under 1,000 words or something like that. It is so small, so short. It's like 2 pages. But I really wanted to make sure that I hit all of the prompts for Summerween and also read like as many horror thrillers as I can for this week. So I have a lot of things planned, but I really wanted to make sure that I got the haunt in the title prompt down. So I just picked this up because my original plan was to read The Haunted House by Charles Dickens. And I don't know if I want to do that. So I read this just in case, just to be safe. I also have a potential other thing in mind. I'm not going to tell you my full TBR. Should I tell you my full TBR? Do you guys want to know my full TBR? Yeah, let's tell you my full TBR. Why not? So, my full TBR. A Ghost's Guide to Haunting Humans, which is very, very funny. Very clever. I really enjoyed it. It kind of gave me like Casper's brothers or uncles or however he's related to those ghosts in the live action. Gave me like their vibes when they're training the dad how to be a ghost. So that was fun. It was really fun. I'm also hoping to read Haunted. Haunted is an anthology written by a plethora of indie authors, and I'm very excited to read it. I'm very intrigued. I didn't know this existed until today when I was doing a little like searchy search on the computer to make sure I had a full TBR. The next book that I want to read is Pen Pal. This is a creepypasta graphic novel. Like the story started on creepypasta. It's rather short on the shorter side. And I hear that it is spooky, like proper scary. So I'm ready. I kind of want to read it in the dark. It is the ebook. So I'm hoping maybe because like my iPad has a little bit of light, I won't be as scared. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. What else did I want to read? I'm planning to read The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Why? Because everybody's reading it. And it's also the July Literally Dead book club pick. And I think it's also the Book Troops pick for July, which is hosted by Gabby, which, by the way, is hosting Summerween with the wonderful Olivia Reads a Latte, so you already know we're set up for good things. I am also reading for the slasher prompt, Clown in a Cornfield. This was an Olivia suggested YA slasher. I'm really excited for it. It's not a genre I typically read. I think the only slasher I've read is My Heart is a Chainsaw, which is like the biggest love letter to the slasher genre. So I'm really excited to read a different type of slasher book. Is that it? I want to say that's it, but truly who knows? We will see. We will see where this week takes us for reading. I'm super excited. I have a very busy weekend, but not so much a week. So I'm hoping to read a good chunk of things for you guys and for myself, and I'm hoping to love all of them, although except for maybe Riley Sager. We're not sure how I feel about him, but we'll see. Stay tuned. You'll find out how I feel. And yeah, as for reading in the dark, again, I'll probably just read an ebook at nighttime at some point in the week. And for the baking or making a treat, I'm planning on making cookies Sunday, I think. I know that doesn't sound very like spooky Halloween, but I'm gonna make hopefully s'mores stuffed chocolate chip cookies. Sounds pretty bomb to me, so that's the plan. Just have some cookies, probably some popcorn, and call it Halloween. Why not? Okay, that's it for this intro. I don't want to keep it too long. I will let you know when I read the next book or when I make cookies. One or the other. It is so hot right now. But you know, it's fine. Wearing a crew neck anyway. Really vibing with the Halloween spirit of warm but cozy and cold. It's fine. Tonight I'm starting The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I'm weary. I've heard terrible things so far, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try and get as far as I can into this tonight. I will probably check in with you closer to the halfway mark, let you know how it's going. I'm excited to finish this so I can watch every single YouTube video that involves this book, because I feel like it's just everyone's reading it right now. So I'm excited to see how it goes. A little worried. Expectations and hopes are quite low. I'm kind of just reading this for the Literally Dead book club and the Book Troop book club, but also I'm reading this for pure enjoyment, just to like read something that I haven't read before. This is a brand new trope to me, and just, you know, give it a shot. Read for fun, with like, here for hijinks. I feel like Survive the Night was just one of those like silly, goofy books that would never happen, so you just kind of like suspend your disbelief a little bit, and then you're like, fine. So I'm gonna do the same with this. I think we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. I'm also going to be starting Haunt tonight. Let me by math 15 authors, I want to say, and these are all small indie authors. I believe that this collection was put together by 2 people. Let me see. Edited by Claire Buss and Brent Harris. And then it's an anthology of poems and short stories that are like spooky, Halloween-y, from a whole bunch of different indie authors that are all a part of a Facebook group. And this was kind of just like a way for writers to kind of connect and talk and like get tips and so on and so forth. And they just all write in different styles and genres. And so somebody kind of put this creepy, scary anthology together. So I'm going to be starting this tonight as well. The first poem is called The Willow Man. So it looks like just passing through. It's going to be the poem or the short story, and then after that is like a synopsis. Nope, a description of the author and like maybe what the story means or who they are, so on and so forth. So I am very excited. I love anthologies because I love finding new authors, and I just think that's a fun way to do it, and also like spooky vibes. This will probably be the book that I like read in the dark, read at night. It will be on my iPad though, so it won't be like dark, but I think this one will be the scariest that I read, at least for now. I think towards the end of the readathon, I'll be picking up Clown in a Cornfield, which is the slasher. And then, yeah, we'll see when I pick up Pen Pal. We're just kind of going with the flow. I'm just picking up things when I pick them up. But these 2, I'm starting tonight. And I'll check in with you guys later on how they're going. Can more than likely hear a puppy chewing on a bone, because we got a puppy and we're gonna just have to like let it be, because what the puppy wants, the puppy gets. Cool. So today I actually read my next book for this video. I read Emily Carroll's Through the Woods. This is an anthology, like a horror anthology graphic novel. And it was rather incredible. I love Emily Carroll's art style, her use of her color palettes, how every story felt so different because the art style was different, the color palette was different, and then obviously the story and the characters were also different because it's, again, an anthology. There were 5 titles in this collection, and I enjoyed them. I rated each one, so we'll kind of just quickly go through. This is described by Grady Hendrix as quiet horror. And I kind of agree. When I say something like this is horror, it definitely falls under that horror genre, but it's not necessarily like terrifying. You're not bone chilling, except for one story had me like overly unsettled. So let's go through the stories really quick. The first one was Our Neighbor's House. This is the first story to kick off the anthology. I thought it was fine. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars out of 5. This one is basically following 3 sisters who are left alone while their dad goes hunting, and his clear instructions are if he does not return, they need to go to their neighbor's house. And obviously that's what happens, and that's why it's titled Our Neighbor's House. For art style, I ended up giving this a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed the eerie, dark art style with the edges kind of coming in. I really liked the character style and the color palette. For unsettling, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I feel like it was pretty strong. One of the things about this anthology is that you don't understand what's happening. You don't have a clear explanation for things. You kind of have to like make up your own conclusion or reasoning, or just kind of like accept that it's fantasy horror. Things just kind of happen and like it is what it is. So I definitely think that helps if you know what you're getting into, because one of my issues was I just didn't feel satisfied at the end of the story. I didn't feel like there was a conclusion to the story, which is typically a struggle I have with anthologies, is whether or not I feel satisfied by the end. And then as for the actual plot, I ended up giving it a 6 out of 10. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was rather straightforward. It made sense. It wasn't too crazy. It was on the shorter side compared to others. The next story number 2, is titled A Lady's Hands Are Cold. Oh, this one was unsettling. This got a 10 out of 10 unsettling, 10 out of 10 art style, 10 out of 10 story. Hoo-wee. This one actually had me like physically uncomfortable. Like I couldn't, like my body wanted to have chills, but it couldn't have chills, and it just felt like tight and uncomfortable, and I don't know how else to describe it, but it was not pleasant. I was super unsettled by this story. I would read a short story, like words of this kind of story. I thought it was so good, so fascinating. The kind of creepy unsettling that I love. I loved the historical take on the art style. I really enjoyed just the whole progression, especially the art style for the story. Like 5 out of 5 stars. This one was my favorite. A Lady's Hands Are Cold is basically following a new bride who moves into her husband's mansion and discovers a dark secret that's going on inside the walls. Okay. The next story is titled His Face All Red. This one was probably my least favorite. I did give it a 2 stars. The art was an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy the art style and the color palette. It was vastly different from the previous 2 stories. It was not very unsettling though. Again, this one felt a bit more on the shorter side. I wasn't very captivated. I didn't really care. This is basically about a brother who goes out into the woods. This is about a man who goes out to the woods with his brothers, and it's the events that follow. I just feel like, although I understood the whole picture, I just feel like a few more pages might have done it good to be a bit stronger overall, because it just didn't have any sense to it. Like I couldn't even imagine why it would happen. So wasn't my least favorite. I did give this one a 5 out of 10 unsettling, and I gave the plot a 6 out of 10. The next story, My Friend Jana. This one was good. I gave the art style an 8 out of 10. I did like the art. I like the colors. I don't think this artist could really give me something that I'm like, ugh, bad art, not good. Especially when it's like an anthology like this, like you see the range of the art styles, and I just thought that was like so brilliant because it looks like multiple people were helping on it. Is incredible. I gave it an 8 out of 10 for unsettling because it was kind of unsettling, a little eerie, a little creepy. I definitely liked the vibes. This is following our main character, whose name I don't remember, and her friend Jana. They have this little scheme, if you will, with the townspeople who are naive to believe that Jana has the power to see ghosts, and it's kind of them fooling people into paying them for their work of talking to the dead. And it basically follows events after they find a dead rabbit on the side of the road. Yes, there is a picture of it in the book, so if dead animals is a little triggering or something you don't like, it's not too graphic at all, but it is seen a little bit. And then as for the plot, I gave this a 9 out of 10. I loved the storyline. I loved the twist. I really got to give credit to all of these stories. Like, the twists and what happens are so shocking for each story. It's not what you're expecting it to be, and then just all of a sudden you're flipped on your head and you're like, what's going on? This is crazy. So yeah, overall I gave this a 4-star. And then for the final story, it was titled The Nesting Place. This one was good. This is following our main character who, after the term ends at her boarding school, she moves in with her brother and his fiance because her mother passed away. And basically you're following the events of Rebecca, the fiance, and her dark secrets and past. I thought this was a very interesting take on a story. I did want a few more questions answered than what I was getting, but I liked how it ended and that like little shock value. I liked the twist. I really enjoyed the art style, but my biggest issue was the main character was wearing like a graphic tee dress type of thing, and it just did not fit the rest of the art style. The rest of the art style felt rather historical, and this just felt super modern, and it kind of took me out of the story. So I'm giving the art and color palette a 6 out of 10. I'm giving the unsettling factor a 7, maybe 8 out of 10. Like, it was kind of creepy and eerie. This was a little bit more on the longer side, but I don't think the parts that were long were as necessary. But I did enjoy the kind of undertone of the darkness that lives inside people, of depression and grief. And then everyone's gonna make loud noises. But the final thing that I gave it was a 8 out of 10 for the plot, because again, I enjoyed the story and where it went. I just wanted more answers to it. So overall, I don't know what I'm going to rate this book. Probably a 3.5 or 4, probably a 4 on Goodreads. So that was that. I'm gonna go now because it's about to get very loud with dogs fighting over a bone. Okay. It's hot. I'm tired. Hello again. Hello. We're going extreme today. I've been on a caffeine binge lately. Had caffeine almost every day this week, which is not like me. Ooh. This tastes very much like a key lime pie. Anyway, I have heated up garlic knots for lunch to stay on the couch. Yeah. Today I have genuinely watched BookTube, watched Katie Coulson's live sprint catch up, more BookTube, and I took a nap. Took a very nice nap. Today I am forcing myself to make a significant dent in the house across the lake. That is the goal. I think I'm canceling the rest of all plans for today so that I can properly focus on this and work on this. So I have only made it about 25 pages, 32 pages, look at me go. And so far all we know is that our main character Casey has moved back to her family's lake house on Lake Green because her husband passed away a year ago. He drowned in this lake a year ago, and kind of since then has been going on a little bit of an alcohol binge, has been seen in the tabloids and paparazzi having a drinking problem. So instead of sending her to rehab, her mom sends her to the lake house for a month, where on her third night, she is just on her fourth glass of bourbon, sitting on the lake and admiring the view till she sees a hand come out of the lake. And you feel like that's going to be a really exciting, creepy event, but it's just the new neighbors that moved in drowning casually in the lake, former supermodel. And so they introduce each other, and then we hear more about Casey's backstory, and that's literally all that's happened. It's fine. I don't really like books about famous people to begin with, so that's already kind of putting this in like a meh category. Also, the reviews are terrible. I am trying my best to not listen to all of them and like hear specifics or details about the plot. But oh boy, everybody is reading this for summerween, so like I feel kind of cool for that, because like I'm on brand with everybody else of summerween. Like this is the summerween book. So that's great, but yeah, the reviews aren't good, and so I'm not going into this hopeful. But I don't hate Riley Sager's writing necessarily. I don't love it, but it's like whatever. I hate men who write women though, and Riley Sager is like notorious for that. He uses the name Riley Sager so that hopefully more women think that he's a woman, and then like whatever. I don't think anyone's fooled by this anymore. It's just kind of annoying because I don't like how he writes women. It seems, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be frustrated a lot during this book, but it's fine. We're going to go into it and just read it and get it done. I have a ways to go. This is probably going to take me all day. I really wish that I had an audiobook to pair with this so I didn't have to sit through it all, but I heard that the audiobook isn't great either, because I guess the audiobook makes the main character sound like she's 70 instead of 35, so I don't know, pros and cons. But we're gonna read this today. I'm gonna eat my lunch, finish my booktube video, read this. I'll check in with you guys with updates. I'm also like in between going to continue reading Haunted, because that's the short story collection that I'm reading along with it, short stories and poems. I've read the first poem so far. Still need to make a good chunk into that. And then if I'm like really frustrated with this and want to prolong it another day or two, I might switch over to Pen Pal, which is the other graphic novel I have planned for this week. So yep, that's how this is going. Not the best, but who cares, you know? We're just gonna do it. All right, well, I've read 20-ish more pages. I'm on page 45. The chapters aren't numbered or titled or anything. So it's kind of just like waiting to get to the next little like now versus then section. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see all that well, but the first section, I really enjoyed the like now section, but they're incredibly short right now. So you've got this much just backstory of the character. So we're hearing how she got into acting, how she got into drug addiction, how her husband died, how she got into alcohol because of it. Like, it's just backstory on backstory on backstory. And I'm sure it's going to come full circle to be like, oh wow, she's noticing these weird things with the family across the lake that are just moved in, whatever. And that's fine. I'm just like bored. I'm not that into it. So this is going to be a difficult one to like push through, to force myself to finish and read, but it is a book club pick, so it's like there's going to be a conversation, so I want to finish it, plus I paid for it, so I want to finish it, which is fine. Unfortunately, the characters aren't as interesting as Survive the Night, which is the only other Riley Sager I've read, because at least in that one it's like a bit more fast paced, and like you had that, both of them are unreliable narrators, but I do enjoy Survive the Night more just because we're meeting a character who's like so mentally unwell that she makes up different scenarios in her head, so at least you're like jumping around and like there's thrills, and then it like comes back to reality. It's like, oh, it was fake, and it's annoying, but at least it feels like a quicker read and it's more interesting. So yeah, I put this down for a little bit. I'm still hanging out in Gabby's sprints. McKay just left, so yeah, I decided to start reading Haunted a little bit. I think I read 4 short stories and a poem, and no, 2 poems and 4 short stories, something like that. They're really short. They're fine. None of them are really standing out to me, but the range is quite interesting because it's 15 different indie authors. I love, like, at the end of each story, I get to like read about the author, like what you would read on the like Goodreads blurb or on their website or whatever. But I do enjoy that I like get to know the authors a little bit, so if I do want to continue reading them, I could. So that's cool. But yeah, the stories are fine. Nothing's really standing out to me. There's not like one thing that I'm like, oh, this is so good. But it is kind of nice, like the mix of genres. Like there's some stories that are very supernatural heavy with like vampires and shapeshifters and romance, and then another story is just like about a disappearance, and there's just like creepy poetry. Like it's, none of it's scary per se, but it is like a little bit chilling, if you will. Yeah, it's just fine. I don't feel any type of way. Maybe some stories are gonna get like really great. The next story is like 30 pages long, so I'm hoping that one will have like a good start to finish. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. Kind of want to take a shower because my hair is kind of a mess, but besides that, I don't really have a whole lot planned. I do need to edit today, so I won't be able to read the whole time, but we're gonna read as much as I can. Okay, so excluding our main character's drinking habit, we've got cry in the shower, grilled cheese sandwich for lunch, ignoring her mother and like deleting the messages, having steak with a side salad so she can pretend that her body isn't a complete nutritional wasteland, coffee late at night to, in her case, sober up. In our case, we're just all addicted to caffeine. Ice cream just because. You know, I don't like Riley Sager writing women, but he did have something very accurate, so well done, I suppose, to that Riley Sager. Hi. Daily Dutch, which I did spill and dump out all over my chair earlier today, don't worry. But I figured, you know, I should probably discuss some bookish things. I read last night, by the way, I'm cheating a little bit on this summerween, if you didn't know, because I worked all week and then I come home kind of tired. I read as much as I can, but I'm not a fast reader. So like finishing, 5 books in a week wasn't conducive for me, especially because the first weekend of this readathon, I was actually like busy getting a puppy. So yeah, we're extending this until Sunday, and then this will be up hopefully Sunday. But reading updates, I've made it to page 152. I'm like in the middle of a chapter. I keep doing this. I've got this much to go. So yeah, I have a ways to go. It's a weird thing. Like, I'm capable of reading this. It's not terrible, but I'm bored. It's very slow thriller. It's very repetitive because all she does is drink and then keep thinking the same things over and over again. So it's not like new conversations keep happening or anything of the sort. It's just like the same thing all the time, and I'm bored with it. So yeah, I'm hoping to get this done some point today. Everybody says the ending sucks, so we'll see how I feel about it. But yeah, my biggest issues with this is that it is slow and it focuses a lot on fame, which is not something I like in my books. I'm not a big, like, famous people trope in stories. And I really, like, I like an unreliable narrator, but, like, this unreliable narrator is so boring because all she talks about is drinking. And I'm like, I get it. You like your alcohol. I get it, you're an alcoholic and you're kind of going through things, and that's valid and fair, but at the same time, like, honey, I get it. Also, like, I don't know. I just don't think I'll ever get over the fact that, like, Riley Sager is a man writing about women. It's just, I don't know. I can't not think about it whilst reading it, you know? So it kind of takes me out of the story. That's a personal issue, though, not on the book. Sort of. A little bit on the book. But yeah, hopefully I will finish this and get this done. I think, though, it's Saturday, by the way. I have a few things to do, but also, like, plenty of things I'm avoiding. It is also MCC, so I'm currently watching JoJo's Perspective like I do every MCC since she's been in it. So I'm a little bit busy in that today, too. But I'm hoping tomorrow is going to be, like, a really big cleaning day and editing day. So today I'm kind of just going to focus on reading and maybe some art stuff a little bit later. One exciting thing is that my Scribd books are available again, which means I can start reading Clown in the Cornfield today and maybe tomorrow, which is the audiobook I picked for the slasher prompt, and I'm so excited. So yeah, it's really frustrating because I have books that I'm so excited to read, but I'm still, like, reading this. And I need, like, I don't have to complete it, but I paid for it, so I'm going to complete it because I don't like DNFing books. And the live show for the Book Troop book club is July 31st, that Sunday at 11 PST. I'm not sure when Kayla's is going to be yet, but it's on the same book for a Literally Dead book club. So whenever that is, I want to be done and finished so that I am prepared. So it sucks that I'm reading a book that I'm just, like, not loving, because I have other books that I would rather read. But today we are going to make some more progress in Haunted because, you know, it's short stories, it's poems. It will be a quicker read. I think I have like 130 or so maybe pages left, and the next story is going to be 30 pages, so, like, it'll go by really quick. And then I want to read Pen Pal today, which I'm really excited about, and then we'll talk more about the books later. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Another thing, of course, is the, like, side prompts. One of them being read a book in the dark. I'm going to do that tonight. And the second prompt being to make or, like, have a fall-themed spooky treat. My plan is cookies, but with the heat, I don't really want to turn the oven on. So that might be, like, a late night evening thing. We will see. But that's what's going on. That's the update. I will check in with you guys later. Promise. Bye. The AC is on, so I will try to make this quick, but I've officially reached the halfway mark of The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Oh my goodness. So we got to the first, like, twist, I guess you would call it. It's not really, like, surprising. It didn't really catch me by storm, but it is more interesting. But I also think that the, like, so this flips back from, like, before and now, current day, which are really, like, a couple weeks, like a week apart, I think. I don't need the nows, to be entirely honest. Like, I have an idea. I have two different, like, ideas, theories, two different theories that this could be. I guess maybe three. But I have theories on where it could go from here, which is fine. But I don't know. Twist didn't get me by storm, but I am excited to see where this goes and what might happen. Again, still, like, annoyed with the main character just because, like, she's boring. She's, like, got no personality. She's just not enjoyable to be with because she's just bland. But besides that, it's going fine. I'm going to continue reading for a little bit, hopefully get a good chunk through this. I'm probably going to try and stay up late because I have so many things to read, because I want to read way too many things. So we're going to make it more of a chunk in this. It is currently 6 p.m. I think I started reading like 5-ish because I watched more booktube instead of doing things. It's fine. So yeah, I'm going to continue reading now, and I'll let you know how it goes when I get places. I did it. So I stayed up until about 2:30 in the morning to like make significant progress in this, and then finished it up this morning. It's probably like 10:30, 11 now. This book did not need to be this long. Like, the first half of the book could have been trimmed a lot and been a bit shorter, because just not a whole lot happens, and it's not really building the suspense. But this was a weird one. So Riley Sager definitely has a twist in here that you're not going to predict. It's not going to like make sense. Oh, my camera keeps slipping. So I didn't see it coming, but all of the other like twists and reveals totally saw coming, totally knew were gonna happen. All of it made sense except for that one thing that I was like, what is happening? And because of that one thing, I think a lot of people are going to hate this book for it. I think that's why the ending is so hated by people. But personally, I didn't hate it. Was it weird? Yes. Was it necessary? No. Was it fine? Yeah, absolutely. I think that this has potential to be liked by the right audience. I personally like books with these kinds of things that are just thrown in them. Doesn't bother me too much. It wasn't very well explained, but like, it's fine. I thought it was okay. A little weird, but it's fine. So I finished this. I think I'm just going to give it 3 stars because, again, the beginning was very boring, hard to get through. We're literally just watching our main character, Casey, drink and then watch the neighbors and then whatever events unfold from there. So it's not like the most entertaining of books. It's not very fast-paced until like the end, which, again, interesting twists and reveals, but not like spectacular, amazing, revolutionary. I do kind of wish that like the big twist reveal was a bit deeper. It kind of just was like in there to be there, and I wish that it had like more explanation. But besides that, again, it was fine. So I'm giving this 3 stars. I don't know if Riley Sager is the author for me. I've only given his books 3 stars. I do wish to read like Lock Every Door and the other 2, you know the books, the 3 with like the matching covers. I do want to read them, but I don't really want to buy them. So when I get a library card, I think those will be library books, because I'm done buying Riley Sager books that just aren't that great. But I don't think this will make it in bottom 5 of the year like Survive the Night did, which is interesting because I think Survive the Night was better, which is very interesting. But again, they're both fine books, so it is what it is. Today, Sunday, got a lot going on. I'm so tired. I got like 5 hours of sleep and we're still reading. I wanted to read this. I'm so sorry. I wanted to read this, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time. These are a bunch of short stories, because this will also help with Summer Splash, which is going on. So we'll see if I can get to this in time. If not, I still have Haunted, Pen Pal, and Clown of the Cornfield to read. So we're going to focus on those 3 primarily, and if I can get to Chills, that'd be great. But that's it for me. I'm going to start my day, get ready a little bit. I have a lot to do today, so I'll check in with you guys later. Hello, another update. So I have been like cleaning and doing stuff around the house, and I've been listening to Clown in a Cornfield. I don't remember who the author's by. I'll of course have it on screen. And what we learned in the very beginning was there was an accidental death when someone like at a party on like a river or something, and somebody jumped from a like high cliff rock, which is a normal jump, didn't go well, death. And then it flashes forward sometime with our main character. The only name I remember is Janet, and that's the friend. But basically in this, we're following our main character who just moves to this like really small town. Got some weird vibes going on with like the town's meetings with the adults, you know. There was an arson issue on one of the old factories. Like a lot of things are going weird. And basically she moves here, she's getting to know the like troubled kids and starts hanging out with them, going to parties, and it all just starts going horribly, horribly wrong. It is a slasher, a YA slasher. So you can imagine that, like, you know, there's some death. There's some death. And I am enjoying it. I don't know, like, the big picture of why it's happening yet. I still probably have, like, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours left to go. But that's where we're at right now with it, is just death and seeing where it goes from here. I am enjoying it. I'll probably finish it here soon today. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm really curious as to why it's happening. Like, what's the bigger picture of slaughtering a bunch of children, you know? But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's going well. I'm almost done. So I'm gonna finish that. Yeah, easy update. Not much. I thought Pen Pal was a graphic novel. Alright, hello, hi. So, today I actually finished Clown in a Cornfield, and what did I think? So, just a refresher, because I don't know when I last spoke to you guys about this book, because I haven't worked on editing yet. But we are following our main character who moves to a small town with her doctor dad, and she's basically adjusting. Her mom passed away, so they're kind of going through it, and so she moves to this small town and meets the new kid, or she is the new kid. She makes friends with like the troubled group in detention, and it just ensues from there into a slasher. This is a young adult slasher. I would say that it is still gory and gruesome at times, but it's not so terrible that you're like uncomfortable by what's being said. One thing I really enjoyed about this was that we're following high school students. They are young adults, but I enjoy the way they talk and what they do. It really reminded me of my high school experience with like partying and drinking and going to like the river and the lake and stuff, and just kind of being a bit of a delinquent, you know? I like that about the characters. I never hated any of the characters. You got the popular, you got the bad boy, you got the like hicks, which I went to a half hick high school, half city kid high school. It was very strange. So yeah, I just really like resonated with these students and how they talked and what they did, and like they're all into YouTube and have like a little prank channel. I kind of like that, I'm not gonna lie. And continuing as you get further into the book and you are listening to the slashers and what's happening, It's not too gruesome. The clowns, although are a factor, like there is a clown, it's not so scary. So I think this is very manageable for anyone to really read, even if you are more on like the scared side. I think that it's very approachable. It's not too anything, like it's just a standard thing. I don't know, I really enjoyed that about it. The twist as to like why it was happening and the big reveal wasn't a lot. It was rather meh, but I didn't hate it because it really just kind of shows you how people can be affected by trauma and do some batshit crazy things. But with that said, I will be reading the sequel. I believe it comes out this year. It might already be out. I'm not really sure. I haven't been up to date because I just finished it. But I will read the sequel. I don't think it needs a sequel. I don't know when this came out, but I don't think the sequel was necessary. But it's fine. I will check it out because I do enjoy it. This reminded me a lot of The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones. That was a novella though, and it's also slasher. I'm pretty sure that one is adult though, so it's a bit more slashery, and it's also framed as if you were watching a movie. So like POVs shift from like settings to people. It's pretty good. I would recommend it if you like this kind of thing and you can handle the slasher gore that's going on. So yeah, I think my final rating is like a 3.5, but I think I'm gonna rate it a 4 on Goodreads. I think that's what I'm going for. Yeah. And I also finished Haunted today. I know I haven't checked in a lot recently. It's been so freaking hot that I just like don't want to. Like, I'm sitting in a room without air conditioning. It's 100 degrees outside and I'm doing it for you guys. So, but I finished Haunted. This is a poetry and short story collection, an anthology from a group of people that are participating or like are members of a Facebook group for writers. I thought it was pretty interesting and cool to like have this collaborated work. 3 stories really stuck out to me. The second half of the book was far better than the first half of the book, in my opinion. There just wasn't as much that I was engaged with, but the first story I really enjoyed was The Assassin by Yvette Bostic. This is an assassin female human who is partnered with a man who might be a little supernatural, and they basically are partners in assassinating people that their boss tells them to do it. And there's a little bit of romance, there's a little bit of vampire, there's just like, it's good. I enjoyed it. It was just like 30-ish pages. I thought it was nice. The next story that I read honestly took me way too long to read for 30 pages. It was The Smile Behind the Door by Ricardo Victoria. This one was hard to like stay interested in, but it did give me like the Death of Jane Lawrence vibes, which if you know me, you know that I love that book. I'm sorry everybody else hates it, but I think it's great. It kind of gave me those vibes, but like more unhinged and more scary, maybe. It didn't really, none of these stories scared me, but it definitely was like, oh wow, crazy. So it's kind of just a story following what people will do with the access to dark magic and just like secret society kind of vibes. I enjoyed it, but again, it took me way too long to read, so I think if it was just like a little bit shorter, it would have been a little bit easier, because I was just like reading a lot of the same things and I was like, I am over it, but I'm still intrigued. So it was a weird experience. And the final story was, I think, like 2 or 3 pages, and it was probably my favorite. It was Shango by Medea Sarif. This is, I haven't looked into it or anything, but just from reading the story, it sounds like this is at least some sort of Latin or Hispanic urban legend. and it's basically following this really shitty guy, Romeo, who's cheating on his girlfriend all the time, but still like likes her and wants to keep her around. And she knows. Her name's, I think, Miranda. She knows. Miranda knows. She's not dumb. And Miranda has him pick up this necklace from her aunt's store. And so he tries it on. And then some weird shit happens. And I lived for it. I thought it was so good. I really enjoyed just everything about it was fantastic. So if by some chance you can read just this story, like out of all the stories, I highly, highly, highly recommend Shango by Medea Sharif. So good. I will definitely check out their work because I really enjoyed this. So this one I think I'm just gonna give 3 stars. Nothing really wowed me. I didn't really walk away like wanting to check out all of these authors, which is fine. Not every anthology will be a win. But yeah, those were the 2 that I've read, updated on. Because I keep having to push this video back due to it being so freaking hot, I'm so sorry. I'm annoyed with myself too. And I want to get this video up for you guys today. So I'm going to read more of Pen Pal, maybe give like an update, but if I don't finish it, I don't finish it. And I'm not going to start Chills. I'm just going to read that separate because I, again, don't have time. So I'm really sorry for that. I will have more discussions about them in a wrap-up, but I'm going to try and read as much as I can now for you guys, and hopefully I can finish it and then get this video edited and up for y'all. Yeah. Hey girl, hey. I'm here for some final thoughts. Pen Pal by Dathan. Why are you making noises? Hey, Auerbach. There we go. What do I have to say about this book? This book? Why are you crying? This book. Is it scary? Absolutely, it is Mr. Creepypastas all the way. Did I just about cry? Yeah. Yeah, I did actually almost cry. Like twice. Wow. This is following our author and his retellings or his recallings of memories that he's kind of locked tight away of his childhood. After discussing some things with his mom, he kind of learns more and more things get uncovered. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, so it goes a lot of places. It is scary and creepy, but it's not like scary, I can't sleep at night scary, but it is like creepypasta scary. If you're unfamiliar with creepypasta, then that might be why. I will have a secret little link in the description if you don't have access to the ebook or book of Pen Pal and you don't want to buy it. There's a video down below for you. Highly recommend. So that's wrapping up finally. Summerween. This took too long. I'm so sorry, everybody. It's just so hard to read when it's hot and life just kind of happens, but it's going up. It's fine. It's cool. Let's do a little mini recap while the puppy eats a cardboard box. Oh my goodness. The first thing that I read for this was a graphic novel online. No, that's not the first thing I read. I forgot that I read another thing. So fun. Okay, the first thing I actually read was A Ghost Guide to Haunting Humans. This was by Serena Dory. I didn't rate this. This was just a very, 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 very short, like 2 pages short. Doesn't really count for anything, but this is a very cute, what do they call it, flash fiction on how, like a little step-by-step, how to haunt the ghosties, and it was very cute. I read this for the haunt problem? I read this for the haunt prompt, just in case I wasn't able to finish another book. but I did, and this was very cute. The next thing I read was Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. This was a graphic novel that I read online. It is an anthology graphic novel, all by the same author though, so like short story graphic novel format. Very interesting. It's the first time I read something like this. Loved every single art style. I gave you guys an in-depth analysis on this. It came out to 4 stars. Very nice. I guess in a way this fits for Halloween colors because I've been told red counts and I'm going with it. But also it's a spooky cover, so like it works. The next book I read, I didn't even grab off of my shelf, but I read The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Finally got it over with, got it done. I enjoyed it, but I didn't at the same time. I don't look back on it as memorable or like a good time like I do with Survive the Night. It was just kind of there. The twist was twisty, but every other twist was rather bland. I think it's more so this specific trope rather than like the book as a whole that didn't work for me, but either way, not terrible. Gave it a 3-star. It be what it be. The live show for the book troupe is the 31st, and the Literally Dead Book Club live show for this book will be on August 7th, so I'm excited for those to discuss more about this, see what more people think about it. The next book I read, Cloud in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar. Caesar? I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. This is a YA young adult slasher, small town vibes, like little country vibes. I enjoyed it. I think Quinn as a main character was really cool. I really liked Cole and his friend group. I enjoyed the characters a lot. I enjoyed the slashing a lot. I liked that it revolves a clown, but it wasn't like too clowny. So it wasn't like, I didn't find it scary, but I found it interesting. And I think that the reasoning for why it happened, what is that word? Whatever. The reason for why everything happened, I think, was like okay, but still a little like unbelievable, but I enjoyed it. I can suspend my disbelief in horror especially. So yeah, enjoyed it, gave it a 4-star. The next thing I read was Haunted, which was a poetry and short story collection anthology. A lot of authors. There was, I believe, 15 stories, maybe 15 authors, I'm not sure. It was fine. Some stories hit harder than others, but overall I thought it was a good experience, especially because it was super indie authors that are much smaller. I did take one author away that I'm interested in reading more from, so overall I think that worked out well. And then finally, as we just discussed, I finished Pen Pal, and I'm so happy I did. I almost decided, so close, I was like, I just won't finish the book, and I'll just upload the video without Pen Pal. But I'm so glad I finished it and was able to like upload this video with the conversation, even though it was really small, because I don't have a lot to say on it, because you just need to read it. But overall, pretty successful. The only thing I didn't do for this challenge was to make or bake something Halloween-y or spooky or fall themed. It's just too bad. It's just too hot. I couldn't turn on the oven. I couldn't turn on the stove. I've barely, like, we've not been even making much for dinner. It's just too warm, and that's okay. Overall, I would say that this was a success of a readathon, which I'm really proud of. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was probably longer than I meant for it to be, but I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that so many people participated. I've made some really cool connections because of it. I still have a lot to watch and catch up on for it, but besides that, it's going well. I'm really glad that I got to participate this year. I almost thought I wouldn't have time, but that's it from me. I'm gonna officially go now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave this video a like if you liked it. Maybe subscribe if you want to. Yeah. Also comment if you participated, if you read anything for it. I would love to know. I'm on the hunt for more horror thriller recommendations, so if you have some, drop them down below. But that's it. I will see you guys later. Goodbye!